Warren Buffett and Bill Gates said focus was the single most important factor in their success through life. Yes, indeed, the latest research is clear. The state of our attention determines the state of our lives. So how do we harness our attention to focus deeper, get distracted less, and become even more creative? Well, in mid-2008, I began to realise something in my own behaviour that made me a bit uncomfortable. And that was present from the moment that I woke up till the very end of the day. My everyday life was a series of screens and information that had no meaning in my life. I started the day with the object that woke me up first thing in the morning, my phone. So I sat there in bed or on a couch, staring at my phone screen. At that time, I still had a Facebook account. I kept scrolling on, watching other people's lives, various videos, and bouncing around between a bunch of different apps. I realised that all of my days were completely wasted. I've wasted so much time. I can't accomplish my tasks very well. I want to make it great, but I can't. And I forgot all the things that I need to finish that day because there are various pieces of information and disturbing thoughts that keep on rumbling in my mind. It's like having a feeling you know everything but accurate knowledge of nothing. In short, I mastered nothing because my focus and attention were on other people's lives. Staying on task can be difficult, but it can be particularly challenging when you're surrounded by constant distractions. In today's always connected world, diversions are nothing more than a click away. Even during quiet moments, distraction is literally at your fingertips as you find yourself checking Facebook or other social media accounts. The ability to concentrate on something in your environment and investing direct mental effort towards it is critical for learning new things, achieving goals, and performing well across a wide variety of situations. Whether you're trying to finish a report at work or competing in a marathon, your ability to focus can mean the difference between success and failure. Fortunately, focus is a lot like a mental muscle. The more you work on building it up, the stronger it gets. Improving your mental focus is achievable, but that does not mean that it's necessarily quick and easy. If it was that simple, then we would all have the razor-sharp concentration of an elite athlete. It will take some real effort on your part, and you may have to make some major changes to some of your daily habits. So let's first examine some reasons for this variance and what factors may be related to diminished ability to sustain attention and concentration. Once we are better able to diagnose the issue, we'll move on to more problem-solving approaches to target each part. Below is a list of the 3 most common reasons why our brains may experience difficulty concentrating on any given day. Number 1. Our minds are often full of annoying and disturbing thoughts. Often, we are worried about not being good enough. There is generally a lot of pressure to stack up in our culture. We feel as if there's something wrong with us, for example, if we're still single by a certain age, we don't make a certain amount of income, we don't have a large social circle, or we don't look and act in a certain way in the presence of others. Sometimes, in the midst of all the pressure, you seem to totally forget all the wonderful, unique things about yourself. When you think you're not good enough, you tend to fear the outcome and lack faith in your own abilities. Self-doubt causes inaction, and inaction leads to procrastination, and then procrastination to failure. In the latest research, one of the main reasons or causes why people think they're not good enough and experience disturbing thoughts is having social media like Facebook. Spending too long on networking sites could adversely affect your mood and focus. In fact, chronic users are more likely to report poor mental health, including symptoms of anxiety and depression. If you find that social media is having a negative impact on your life, then quit. At the end of the day, social media sites want to keep you scrolling for as long as possible so they can show you lots of ads and make more money. Quitting social networking sites is not giving up. It's not losing confidence. It's not making excuses. It's about choosing to focus your attention on something more important. If you want more information on why you should remove yourself from social media, check out my other video. It's in the link in the description below. You need to realise that there are more valuable ways that you can spend your time, and it's about learning to be more productive, efficient and effective, because focus is simply choosing the right thought among the thousands of thoughts that you have. Number 2, instead of doing our best and working on what we already know, we're constantly focused on what we will achieve. In the performance-based society of today, we often lose focus because we constantly strive towards the new and better, instead of finding our inner power and constructively working with what we excel in, what we are the best at in each given moment. If we always think about the outcome, the result, the goal, and about what we want to achieve, about where we want to go, about who we want to become, our focus is constantly on the future and not on the work that needs to be done now. So set aside the goal or the outcome. This can be put on the back burner. Embrace and make peace with where you are, and your journey towards something new will feel much more peaceful, rewarding and satisfying. Remember, you cannot fully feel satisfied with where you're going until you can accept, acknowledge and appreciate where you are. Focus on the now, your current progress, rather than perfection. Because you don't get results by focusing on the results. You get results by focusing on the actions that produce those results. And number 3, we are frustrated by not having time. Think of this for a moment. Do you know that every human being gets exactly the same amount of time? Exactly the same amount of time. You get all there is. What we do with that time makes a difference. Lack of direction, not lack of time, is the problem. We all have 24 hours in a day. We live in time with endless possibilities around us, and this seems to have created the notion that life must be lived intensely. We try to exceed in all arenas at the same time, instead of placing focus on one thing and doing this one thing really, really well. Our focus shatters into 1,000 little must-dos and must-haves, and so our time somehow gets eaten up. Also, it's funny that despite our unique ability to think long-term, we want an immediate response and result to our efforts. Maybe this is one of the common reasons why we're not able to give our best and 100% focus on the things that we're doing at any given moment, because we're always comparing our progress, growth, and everything else to the outcome of other people. Just remember, the only thing that matters is the process. Ignore the urge to fight your feelings and focus on finding your own balance between what you're doing, those actions, and self-care. We live our life with short-term focus, and we are losing the ability to build our own self-esteem without constant feedback from others. Achieving long-term focus requires that we learn to direct our attention inwards, to that which I call your inner core, which doesn't need a constant response. Because it's here, perhaps only here in the now, that we can find genuine contentment and satisfaction with who we are. Focus is not about becoming something new or something better, but simply about the duty, commitment, obligation, allegiance, mission, or functioning exactly as well as we already are. We need to understand that this is enough for both general happiness and great achievements. Remember that our brain also functions as a receiver and a processor. In the universe, there is a core from which we obtain knowledge, strength, and information. So be careful of what kind of information you obtain and acquire. Information overload is when your brain exceeds its processing capacity and leaves you feeling tired, like when your computer runs out of RAM and crashes. It can also weaken your concentration and focus, leaving you more susceptible to making bad decisions. As a result of this, you're more likely to overload yourself from other sources of information as a means of procrastinating on important tasks. If you have enjoyed this video and you're inspired by what you've seen, don't forget to like, subscribe and share. Let's change the world together.
Always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Keep my head up when I act, head up, that's a fact. Never looking back, I'ma keep myself on track. Keep my head up, staying strong, always moving on. Feel I don't belong, tell my thoughts to move along. Push myself to be the best, die with no regrets. Live with every breath, see my message start to spread. And I